Major snows, but overall mild temperatures. That'll be a key theme in this video. Hello and welcome to the 2020-2021 winter forecast from Neoweather. I'm meteorologist Brian Ivy with Mark Spencer.
This has obviously been a crazy year with the COVID-19 pandemic and much more. We hope you and your loved ones are doing well. The weather has also been crazy with wildfires, drastic temperature changes, and an extremely active hurricane season. And that could have some implications on our seasonal outlook.
It's going to be quite an interesting winter this year with La Nina currently setting up. However, there are several other factors that also come into play this winter that will affect what we actually see. We'll show you what that means for much of the country.
We will, of course, break down the country by region with our in-depth forecast for each area. Some regions will certainly see a good amount of snow and cold air, while others will have another very warm winter. But does that mean those areas will see less snow, Brian?
You know, that's a very common misconception. Just because the overall trend is mild doesn't mean severe bouts of cold don't happen. I think the setup is there for big ticket winter storms.
Yeah, I agree with that. While you're watching our forecast, we'll feature our NeoWise questions throughout the show, along with a couple winter weather facts. Now, we may not be keeping score, but feel free to at home and let us know how you did in the comments.
And if you're running a snow and ice management business, stay tuned for information on how Neoweather can help your business. We save you money and help you operate more efficiently with our winter forecasting solutions and support. We'll also tell you about changes coming to the way you get your National Weather Service alerts for winter weather.
And if you're watching our show live and have questions, be sure to stay tuned at the end of the show for our live Q&A with Brian and myself. Post any questions you have in the comments. Our winter forecast begins right now.
Let's kick off the maps portion of our winter forecast video talking about the overall pattern setup. One of the main things meteorologists look at first is, are we going to have a La Nina, an El Nino, or something else in the oceans? Oceans dominate the earth, about 70-something% water on our planet, so we really look to see what they're trying to show us. Warm temperatures across portions just west of the United States and also to the east of the United States. A lot of warmth on this map. Where isn't there warm temperatures? Well, right along the equator there in the Pacific Ocean, that is well below average sea surface temperatures, and that shows us that there is a La Nina that has already established itself. It will continue like that as we go throughout the next few, maybe even several months. These computer models, and we have several of them here, are all forecasting La Nina conditions through January and most likely into February and March as well. Some of them even showing well into a moderate, fairly intense La Nina. That Nino 3.4 is one of the main areas that we look at for that prediction of La Nina versus the El Nino. Now, with this starting La Nina that we've seen set up, with some of the other conditions that we've looked at in different areas of the globe, with pressure patterns and ocean and atmospheric temperature patterns as well, we expect a negative NAO and negative Arctic oscillation to be around as we go through late fall into the first portion of winter, into December and maybe into early January as well. That is a dominant area of high pressure. This is a big ridge that sets up in the northern Atlantic around Greenland. And guess what? You have all this cold air bottled up across the Arctic, and it spills into the eastern and the central United States, also into Europe around Italy and France and UK as well. And we could see a few of these different waves of really cold air. We've already seen the pattern start to establish this already here in October. So as that continues, we could deal with a very front-loaded winter with a lot of cold and snow early on. But the overall pattern with this jet stream is going to be blowing in some decent warm, mild, moist air coming in from the Pacific Ocean. That will likely produce a lot of wet weather, even compared to average across the Pacific Northwest. And also, this is the dominant storm track where we see a lot of systems spin out of the Colorado Rockies into the plains and then into portions of the Midwest, Ohio Valley, Great Lakes, and Northeast as well. So certainly nothing that tells us we're going to be dry and boring across much of the Midwest into the east. Do you know the difference between a special weather statement, hazardous weather outlook, advisory, and warning? Over 100 different types of weather alerts could have been issued by the National Weather Service. Many say that could quickly become confusing.
Even if myself that is not colorblind, I look at that map and I can't tell if that's the same shade of red or not. But when you're talking about that many different colors, there's that many different types of hazards out there. So then we really have to take a look at do we need to issue all those watches, warnings, and advisories for each one of those hazards?
The NWS understands this. Public feedback and studies from social scientists have encouraged them to make changes. The weather arm of the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration started simplifying winter alerts a few years ago. So what does it mean for you? Winter weather hazard types are combined if they cover similar impacts. The purpose is to focus more on when and how you will be impacted. The storm type details are still provided in the what section of existing products. This allows you to see what the specific hazard is and make safety decisions more efficiently. Watches mean significant weather is possible in a couple days. Advisories mean an inconvenience is soon to come or currently happening. Think of a slower drive to work because of some slick spots. And warnings are for major events. Think freezing rain that turns roads into an ice skating rink, or heavy snow that piles up to 10 inches. Another big NWS winter edition is snow squall warnings.
Just like you had in the summertime when you have a cold front moving through and you get a line of showers and thunderstorms along that cold front, it's the same in the winter, except this produces heavy snow for a brief period of time, strong winds, and near whiteout conditions.
Around 800 fatalities occur each year due to snow squalls. These warnings should help travelers be more alert that they are entering an area with visibility and road conditions that deteriorate very quick. We have already seen some snow squalls this autumn that produce a few inches of snow and cause dozens of crashes. More revamping to NWS hazards and alerts are coming over the next couple years. For Neoweather, I'm meteorologist Brian Ivy.
All right, kicking off our region-by-region forecast, starting in the northeastern United States. Let's look first along the I-95 corridor. Unfortunately, for our friends here, to be generally mild and dry overall for the winter. Now, that's not to say a couple systems won't bring some cold air or maybe even some snow. It'll just be very infrequent. You'll want to get further inland into interior New England to see the colder air, especially early, and several systems that will bring some snow, but it can also be some mixed precipitation at times too. Further north up into Canada, that's where we'll see the more active pattern with frequent cold and snow, and that will actually translate into northern Maine as well. That'll be north of that jet stream we just saw a moment ago. Now, looking across the middle Atlantic, not much of a winter to be found here either, folks. Generally mild and dry overall for the winter, but again, that's not to say a couple systems won't bring some cold or some snow, especially to the mountains. It just won't be persistent through the winter. A little bit colder across the upper Ohio Valley, where we'll see several shots of cold air early, and then on off into Ohio and Pennsylvania, we'll see several clipper systems and lake effect snow as well into northern Ohio and northwestern Pennsylvania. Looking across the southeastern United States, really a pretty quiet winter here. Actually, it should be a pretty good winter for the orange crop in Florida. Generally mild and dry overall across the southeastern United States, but again, a couple systems could bring some colder air at times, even maybe a little bit of snow, especially across the southern Appalachians, even in the portions of northern Georgia and far northern Alabama. Wouldn't surprise me too much. The battleground will be the mid-Mississippi Valley and the lower Ohio Valley. That's where we'll see the warm and cold kind of swing back and forth through the winter, rain to snow, maybe even a little bit of ice at times too. Now finally on off into the Midwest and Great Lakes. This is where we'll see some of the cold air. The core of the cold air will be from the western Great Lakes into the northern plains. So much of Minnesota, northern Wisconsin, northern upper Michigan, That's where we're going to see much of that cold air, especially the first half of the winter. We'll also see several clipper systems move through. Now, as we get into the second half of winter, things could start to moderate a little bit. We'll have to keep an eye on that. It will be active overall. We'll see a lake effect across much of Michigan where we usually see the lake effect, especially the first half of the winter. The second half, it's a little tough right now. We'll have to keep an eye on it. And again, the battleground will be across much of Ohio, Indiana, and Illinois. Now, if you're looking for accurate, reliable, and dependable weather forecasts, whether you're in the Midwest, Northeast, or wherever, check this out. If you run a commercial snow and ice management company, you already know that making smart decisions begins with the weather forecast.
But before savvy snow managers roll out their fleet of equipment, they need accurate and reliable weather information. Neoweather provides impact-specific forecasts for your coverage area.
Going above and beyond for high-risk and zero-tolerance accounts is essential in a competitive marketplace. Our clients say that we are the edge that they need.
It's absolutely vital. I would go so far as to say if you don't have an accurate forecast, there's no way you can be competitive with the people that do. So with Neoweather, you're going to get a 90% correct forecast. With the apps, you're flipping a coin.
Yes, definitely. Frustrated with weather apps and local TV forecasts? They aren't meant for $1,000 business decisions. You need accurate weather forecasts with a focus on impacts and your service area. You need Neoweather to give you peace of mind.
Detailed weather information allows snow contractors to better schedule staff, prepare supplies and equipment, and have quicker response times.
Yeah, take this for example. Holding crews back a couple of hours based on a more accurate storm arrival time saves your monthly investment for our service.
Personalized service, great communication. It's just a great partnership. I think they go the extra mile to help us succeed.
We have a new client portal system to deliver interactive radar, current warnings, our forecast products, and more.
Whether it's days out with our Neo First Look or our exclusive forecast breakdown, you'll receive detailed and easy to understand content. Got a question? Just give us a call or send us an email. We're here for you 24/7. You can't get that with Siri. Visit our website and request your free quote today.
Neoweather, the leading front in weather. Shimming a little bit further off towards the west in the plains, it's typically one of the more cold and wintry spots of our nation, but this year, even colder than average. We're talking about multiple Arctic blasts really descending on down across even into the upper Midwest at times. This is going to be a pretty potent winter, we think, with a decent amount of activity swinging out of Alberta in the form of those minor snowfalls known as clippers. But the dominant jet stream will likely come up north and then swing back down south at times, and I do think things will come together once in a while for more of those big deal winter storms and even some blizzards across this area. Further west, again, this is really one of our main areas of true winter weather. Very cold and snowy because we have the moisture plus multiple batches of cold air. So even like Seattle and Portland, even in the lower elevations, you're still talking about probably much more snow than normal. At least the potential is there. And then we're going to hopefully get some of that more rain and snow down into portions of at least northern California and northern Utah. But are we going to break the drought? No. If for the areas that really need the rain, we're not going to have that Pineapple Express type pattern that brings a lot of moisture across portions of the southwest. That's all going to stay off towards the north. So this does look like an area of high pressure will set up, kind of similar to what we've seen in areas of the southeast. And that's going to allow that generally mild pattern to dominate, but especially a lot of ridging for dry weather. So even places like the higher elevations of New Mexico and Arizona, you're probably going to be seeing less snow than average. This will be your battle zone. So skiing out across portions of Aspen in towards Utah will be probably okay. It's going to be waves of cold, some snow, and then you'll be warming back up shortly after.
All right, putting all the pieces together now, let's take a look at the entire United States and start with our temperature outlook. Not too much winter to be found on it looking at this. The core of the cold air again will be across the northern portions of the United States, portions of Idaho, Montana, northern North Dakota. That will be the core of the cold air. Still chilly though. Minneapolis, the western Great Lakes, further west into Wyoming, and the Pacific Northwest. Generally average conditions along much of the west coast towards Salt Lake City, Denver, the Central Plains, and portions like Chicago and northern lower Michigan, near average. Then we get into the warmer air from the southwestern United States into much of Texas, Oklahoma, much of the Mississippi River Valley, the Ohio River Valley, and the Northeast. Now, we did mention earlier that portions of Canada could see a little bit cooler air hang in there, for especially that first half of the winter, but we do think the second half of the winter could moderate just enough to push them maybe just slightly above average, but I wouldn't be surprised to see them slightly below average too. It really just depends how long that cold air can be sustained there. Very warm along much of the eastern seaboard and the Gulf Coast. Looking at precipitation now, we have two areas to focus on. The first one will be out west, plenty of moisture to the Pacific Northwest, even in Idaho and western Montana. The other sweet spot for this will be the Central Plains into the western Great Lakes. Plenty of moisture to be found here. Very dry though along the Gulf Coast, fairly dry conditions for much of the East Coast and the southwestern United States. So where does that leave us with snowfall? Well, where we saw those two areas of precipitation above normal, that's where we're going to see snowfall above normal. So we don't put snowfall totals on a map. We don't predict that for the winter. We look at snowfall compared to average in terms of percentage. So we're looking at about 150% above normal for much of the Pacific Northwest into portions of Montana and even much of Wyoming too. You'll see plenty of snow out there, so any locations to go skiing, yeah, it's going to be real good out there. The other sweet spot, big ticket snows across the Great Lakes and Midwest, Chicago, Minneapolis, Detroit, Grand Rapids, Marquette. Yeah, Green Bay, that's where we're looking at the big ticket snow for the winter. 1.5 times the amount of snow compared to average. Now, not so much snow, but slightly above average for much of the northern plains, even down into Kansas, across the middle Mississippi Valley, portions of the Ohio River Valley, and up into interior New England. And then near average snow from Boston to DC, but again, that'll generally be the first half of the winter. I think by the time we get past mid-January, your chances for snow go down quite a bit. And again, not too much snow as you get south of Interstate 40. And that is our winter forecast for 2020-2021. Thank you for watching the 2020-2021 winter forecast from Neoweather.
For more information about Neoweather, visit our website at neoweather.us. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram for the latest weather updates.
And if you're looking for accurate weather forecasts for your business this winter, be sure to visit our website and request a free quote today. We would love to learn more about your company.
Our weather forecasts are focused around your operation and contain specific impacts that directly affect you. Plus, having easy access to our team of meteorologists allows you to make the best possible decisions 24/7.
Thank you for watching. Our live Q&A is coming up next.